I don't know if it says unmuted now.
You
Okay,
are
that's it.
unmuted, brother.
That's it. Thank you very much. All right. All right, Alan, we are here live.
Well, good evening, Johnny. Good evening, everybody on InnervisionFM.com. We're going to have a packed show tonight. How you been? How was your weekend, sir?
Oh, man. How was my weekend? sometimes you do something and you say, I shouldn't have did that. I was playing around with my PayPal, and for some reason, I decided to send my PayPal a couple of $1,000s. And I'm thinking, like, why did I do that? Because I was thinking, I thought I received some money. I thought I was sending money, getting money, and I ended up. So this Monday morning, I had to grab some money from lines of credit to cover $2,000.
My.
Oh man, I said, why did you do that? So it's one of those things. What is fun?
Joys of owning a small business.
No, man, yes. So oh, by the way, speaking of money, we do need some donations. I mean, we need to raise some money here. I now have in the subject line, you can do a Cash App, which is just a $ Innervision and then a capital J. So if you have Cash App, and you can also do the PayPal.me/Innervision Denver to help support the show. And there was something else. Yeah, it was in our radio station 24/7, 7 days a week, Innervision FM, where we have what's his name, Alfonso and the Clone Show, Robert Randall, and the Holy Worship on Fridays. So that's a great lineup from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock. And then the morning show, of course, Monday through Friday from 8 until 10. And then our noon interview shows from noon to 1. So yes, a lot of stuff going on. So
well, that does remind me of a thing really quick.
okay.
Thinking I'll probably talk to you at some point off the air, obviously, about maybe getting something rolling, maybe tossing another slot up there.
Oh, yeah.
About a month or so ago, we had a guest on air by the name of David Cook. And
Oh, yeah.
he and I run accountabilityrevolution.com. And that basically deals with what we would like to see as American citizens. And that's to hold our elected officials accountable for a lot of their decisions that they make for us, not even realizing, because of course, somebody like, say Nancy Pelosi, who makes 193 million, actually, who is has a net worth of $193 million, has no idea what it's like to live from hand to mouth, day to day, paycheck to paycheck, or in my case, I guess Social Security disability check to disability check. But these individuals, they get in there and they run their political lives until they croak, and they end up getting very, 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 very wealthy on our taxpayer money. And so if they're going to do that, why, they ought to be held accountable. So I figure we'll probably do some sort of show. We'll put something together at some point in the really near future. I was hoping to have it kicked off sometime after the first of the year. But instead of whining and crying about how badly things are for us here, there are some actionable steps that one can take to ensure that our federal government remembers who their employer is, and that's we the people.
Yeah, and be able to be able to tell, like the sheep. Let's see, the wolf's clothing and sheep garment. You might have heard, like on NPR, which is a government ran, left-leaning ran funded. by all of us, this left wing and left wing channel station news, supposedly news. And I put that in air quotes. He got in there and says, "Well, the virus is over. I don't think we should demand masks." And of course, only the conservative channels picked up. It wasn't a beep in the liberal channel. And Polis is pretty smart. He knows that he wants to fool people into believing that he should get a second term here, and maybe he wants to go on to be the president. But it was just kind of strange that news blurb just went to the conservative stations and not really the left-leaning stations. So you got to watch out for these guys that they pretend to be moderate and they're not, or they pretend to be Republicans, but they just grab something from another person's website who is conservative, and then using source money run. And once they get in, then they show they take off their lamb suit and they become the wolves that they are. So
wow. That's an interesting thing that you caught there with our esteemed governor Gerald Polis, in what he had been saying. Even as another state goes under lockdown, or I shouldn't say lockdown, but doing the indoor mandates for masks and things.
Yeah. And then he had to, which shows you that he just did it for political reasons. Then when he got him in another situation, he had to walk it back, because he just wanted that to be put out there. So, and we got this guy. Well, we talked to him last Friday on Reggie Carr's show, Mr. Lopez, and so he's running for governor. So, put his name out there, and hopefully, as he said, he will do what he says, and he says what he will do. So.
Absolutely.
Greg Lopez.
Future governor of Colorado, depending upon what one believes. But he does seem to be a straight shooter type of guy. And, there were some questions posed to him, point blank questions that say, hey, look, are you really going to say are you really going to do what you say you're going to do? Or are you just going to go ahead on, get in there in that position and then just go ahead and be one of these stuffed suit kind of guys? And I think he addressed it rather well.
Oh, yeah.
It's found on 56 KLZ every
Friday.
Friday.
9 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time. And the phone number, if you want to call in, is 303-477-5600. And you can join in on the conversation. And sometimes I'll try to put up the conversation because it's like regular terrestrial radio, and it reaches a lot of places. So, and the shows are really good. Some good lineups of different shows. So,
one thing that I do enjoy about that particular show is he does try to get people with all differing backgrounds. So it's not just the conservative side, or it's not just the liberal side, or it's not just the moderate side of things. It's a amalgamation, because that is what America is made out of, is a melting pot of individuals, different ideals, different races, colors, creeds, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, I have a topic, and I was talking to and this is why I came with I was talking to a friend of mine today. Her name is Barb. She's the president of an organization called Combo. And, we suddenly, she, I didn't get a chance to go to the Christmas party this Sunday. And it's like, man, it totally slipped my mind. It was like, I don't know. I guess I was, uploading songs and all that kind of stuff and doing metadata. Putting in metadata in songs can make your mind numb.
Absolutely.
So I was doing that, and the next thing I know, I saw this email. I said, oh yeah, the Christmas party. So we didn't get a chance to go to that this weekend. But she called me today, and we were talking, and she was telling me about her 77-year-old brother. And could you imagine? Okay, now if this happens to somebody who's like 30, 40, 50, that's bad enough. And even if it's, if you're a teenager, you get like, well, unless you get a hold of your parents' credit card, But he was talking to this lady, I think one lady from the Philippines, I don't know if it was the Philippines, and then it was another lady from another place. And they said, well, we need some help, and what we do is we'll wire you some money, and then you put the money on the gift card, then you send them, you send the money to this person. And you're thinking like, oh, maybe $1,000, maybe $500. Well, she had went out to visit her brother and whatever, and he had just had a stroke and everything like that. So he was living with her sister or with their sister. And while they were going out to dinner, the FBI grabbed him. And yes, and I guess one of the things was they got up to $190,000.
Wow.
Wow. Yes. And then they said, well, take out, a chunk for yourself, and thank you for your help. And something about, okay, let's see if I got this right. The lady says, I was in, had to pay the apartment. I'm not sure why it was this much. The apartment cost, the rental costs, and there was a few other things that the money came out of. Well, it turns out that someone had an older grandfather who was kind of feeble and close to like a Biden, right?
Okay.
Or branded. And so they had took his credit card and started, figuring out a way to use it. I'm not sure why they didn't just go swipe it, but I guess they wanted to put it further away from them. So when the FBI got involved, they found out that, these people draining this old man's money, and the money came to Colorado, not Colorado, it was another state, I'm sorry. I forgot what state of brothers. And so they put him in jail.
Wow.
And then she left, and then he had another stroke, right? So they let him go. No, so they gave him like, okay, what he had on him was that, an envelope of $3,000, wallet key, and the sister took it to the bank and put it in the bank, got one of those lock boxes,
Okay.
And so, but she didn't know, because they didn't know how long he was going to be in jail. So he had a stroke, another stroke, a little mini one, and they said, oh, we don't want, we want the guy to die here. So they let him out, and I guess they said, we're going to be, don't leave town. But I'm thinking like, this is a 70, and he's talking to, and on Skype, he's talking to this Filipino girl, and she said, oh, I need some help, and I have 2 kids, and could you do this for me? I'm not sure how, why would you, I guess you would say, this other person said they're going to give me some money, but he needs somebody else to help me. So can he send the money to you? Then you send it to me. And wow, I said, that's the Dr. Phil show right there.
Yeah, that's definitely an internet scam that you want to stay away from. Loneliness is definitely something preyed upon by men and women alike throughout the whole world, and they'll go ahead and pick somebody who might happen to be chronologically advanced, or in some way they might consider them to be feeble or weak in some way, and so they can go ahead and prey on that. It's unfortunate that the FBI got involved, and well, I don't know the case or the situation.
They arrested him. He is the go-between, but he's like pretty much an innocent bystander go-between.
It could be that they're, who knows what they're doing, but that's something that's I would normally say, is best left to the law enforcement to go ahead and try and sort that out. Internet scams like this happen all the time. They happen on Facebook. They happen off of Facebook. They happen via dating apps. And, I'll tell you, I actually really enjoy coming across those scams because I get to
Play with them a little.
yeah, I get to witness firsthand how
Oh,
they think their mind works,
hmm.
and of course, combating that is my idea of fun. So
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and I'll play with them for a bit, get all the information that might be needed for the Facebook fraud unit, or for the FBI, or for whomever. And by golly, go ahead and shut that particular scam down, because it's just like a starfish. You're walking across the beach and you see a starfish wash up from the ocean. You grab it and you throw it back, and you put that thing back into the ocean. Why? You saved one more starfish. That's the same situation with the scammers. You shut down the scammers, you save one more innocent soul.
Yeah. Oh, and I gotta tell you about this other one. Now this is before I met my wife. It was just be a website, and I guess it was owned by Americans first. And, you meet people on there, stuff like that. And so when it got took over by who knows what, whatever, they started putting people that were from other countries like Africa and other, but they left the same Colorado neighborhood. So you're looking for somebody. Oh, there's someone in Arvada. Well, that's close enough. No, Arvada's not far, right?
Right.
And of course, they want to, they just want to go back and forth and chat. And then you pay a little bit of money, whatever. And then you
Right.
say, then in my case, I said, I'm not going to continue this until I can hear your voice, because picture doesn't mean nothing to me.
Right, exactly.
Right? And so I get on the phone, and it's this lady with this deep African voice. And of course, she started telling me like, well, I went to Africa to visit on a vacation, and I'm stuck, and can you send me some money? And I said, I'm not going to do nothing until I hear your voice. And then when I heard the voice, I said, you're from Arvada? Because the person, the thing said, born in Arvada, lived there, I guess, let's see, I'm kind of thinking, lived there, I'm thinking like, this time I was like in my early 40s. So it was like, but didn't sound anything like a 30-year-old. I mean, a very husky African. And I'm thinking like, what happened to this website? It seemed like everybody there came up with the same story about, oh, I'm stuck in this country or that country, and I need money to get back. And I'm thinking like, what is this? Because it was a good website until they got sold, and the person just put anybody behind those people. And in this one, because they describe it like a white female, and I'm calling her, you're not a white female, you're African. You at least can, say black female born in Arvada.
Sure.
So yeah. So I mean that. Oh man, it's like. So I feel sorry for the people that don't demand to hear a voice, or don't demand because they just see a picture, right?
Yeah.
And I guess some of these things are so successful that they'll put somebody on Skype, and okay, they can say, "Oh, here's my kids," and I'm Skyping them in another country, and they may or may not be, and they give you this whole string, and then they're I guess what are they trained in how to throw out the bait and then reel them in.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing, and it's one thing that never changes. It's the scam itself. It's the short game and the long game when it comes to cons. The methods change, but the short and long game never does. And what I mean by the different types of games is you got the short con game where you reel somebody in with a few pieces of information. Maybe you can get some information from them, which will open up their identities. The long game is when you play with people for a while and you get to know them over a course of days, weeks, months, and then you get in their wallet. That's also that's what I'm talking about there with the different short con games, the long con games. But what does change is the technological know-how. In fact, with Meta, which is the new Facebook and the metaverse and all this neat stuff that they're coming out with, why it's going to be, doubly difficult. And as we move from this pandemic, which we now live under, into an endemic crisis, where, okay, it's kind of like the flu and it's out there, but it's maybe not as bad as it was back in 2019, 2020, 2021. But people still don't want to date, go out there and meet people in person. So, man, these types of scams are only going to abound and abound further in greater numbers.
Yeah, I can imagine how it must have been like everybody's locked down. So it was a lot easier to say, well, I can't go here, I can't do that because everybody's locked down. And
Right.
I can imagine how that's scope. And so I went on the FBI thing to find out. And if you got in one of the, you can go to www.ic3.gov. That's ic3.gov. And they have a form that you could fill out if you got caught up in one of these scams. And I went on it, and it took me a little while to maneuver it and stuff like that. But yeah, but and I don't know how long it takes them to get back with you, because I would guess if you could fill that out on the internet, it's keeping these guys, instead of hiring all these IRS people, Democrats, hire some more FBI people. Forget about this IRS thing, and just bring our taxes down to 10% for the highest, 7% for the next level, 5% for the next level, 3% and 1%, and don't worry about it. You can send all those guys home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that has been kicked around since the mid 80s, early 90s, is a flat tax. And I think this is a situation where its time has come. I mean, when we're sitting there printing trillions of dollars just to go ahead and make a human infrastructure package that doesn't cost anything, but costs 3, 5, 7, who knows how many $trillion after you get done playing with it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty wild that, where they're focusing. Oh, and then either sending them out to intimidate parents who just want to know what the kids been taught at school. That's not your job. And you've been used as a political weapon, but Obama did it. So everybody, the Democrats are now getting emboldened to think that everybody can do this silliness. So, so it was just some scams I'd heard about this today and then over the weekend. So it's like, yeah, if you're caught up in that, remember, go to ic3.gov and fill out that form. They even have a number you can call if it's something violent or something to that effect. So yeah, that's wild. So this other thing I wanted to talk about was the tornado.
Man,
did you hear anything about that?
Well, I heard that it broke records
Yeah.
for the longest sustained tornadic activity. I heard that there was perhaps as many as 11 tornadoes in that area. I would imagine that since it being the worst tornado stuff to hit, in recent history, a lot of folks, really got to wonder, especially with even mainstream news stories over the last 2 or 3 years, where they've literally talked about weather control and, moving hurricanes and things like this. A lot of people really do have to wonder, hey, did these tornadoes get spawned from something? I mean, I wouldn't even know, but I do know that my prayers go out to those folks. I do know that for sure.
Yeah. If you just join us, hit the thumbs up and share the show. and subscribe as well. There was one lady, she went on live on Facebook. She was in this building working with some other people, and the walls crashing, I guess, and there was like just a variety of just different people. And this one, oh man, there's a suit brewing. These people, they said if they could leave, they want to leave early, and the boss says, "Well, if you leave, I'm going to fire you."
Right.
And
It was
those walls.
I guess it was
Is
that
it?
some folks got buried in.
Yes, and so I said that there's going to be probably some legal things going on after that, because I mean, I don't know if they would have been safer outside or not, but and he has to come up with the reason why he said what he said. But I don't know. I've heard the recording of the lady who was Facebooking it live. She had called 911, and then she just went on Facebook Live to help calm people down and let them know, hey, I'm on Facebook Live. I'm letting people know. And I guess she couldn't get through to 911 because so many people were calling.
Absolutely.
But the streaming service, now that's better than the like the man on the spot in the news, right? The reporter, yes, I'm standing outside the hurricane. I mean, that is like, man, this technology is like really bringing stuff to us that we can't even imagine.
That's absolutely the case. It's a two-edged sword for sure. There are a lot of things that could go wrong with the technology that we have and things, but it does bring a lot of good, as you say.
Yeah.
So it is quite interesting.
Yeah. So I think the only thing I ever been through was a earthquake in California, and I remember, okay, I think it was three. I think it was like one, but it was like an aftershock kind of thing, because you have the initial and then it comes back around, right?
Right.
So I was on the bus and didn't really feel that one, because you have the wheels underneath you. We were downstairs. We're not that downstairs. We were at the bus stop waiting for the next bus, and the ground started shaking, right? And so I could see well enough to see people at the time, and people were stepping away from the wall. And I said, well, how far did we step away from the wall?
Right.
It's like, and then at the wall is coming our way, when somebody say, go the other way, it's like, and then we were watching, I guess they showed this videotape of this guy, he was doing the news, and he's on the 10th floor, and he jumped underneath the table. Now, I don't know how that would work on the 10th floor, jumping underneath the table.
I can't say how it would work very well.
Yeah, so I mean, because at least if you're the building, you won't get the real brunt of it, but still,
oh man,
the roof comes in.
Man, being on any floor other than the ground floor, or even being on the ground floor in the basement, all the floors coming down on top of you. Holy moly!
Yeah. So then the other earthquake I was in, and this was like two separate. The one on the bus, then the one downtown. That was one that I was in this other one where I think it was like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's the weirdest feeling. It feels like the house is on wheels and it's just rolling back and forth.
Wow.
And so that was unusual. Just 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if I was asleep or whatever. I think I was asleep, because it wakes you up, because it's like you're like, rockabye baby on the treetop, and you're thinking like what's going on? Is this really happening? And at the time I just got this bed, but I didn't get the frame because I was staying with a friend of mine, and so the mattress was on the floor. So,
so it's sliding across the floor.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. That was so I said, well, maybe I don't want to live in California.
But you get to have all the fun. I was only buried in an avalanche. I was skiing in a roped off area where I
Oh
shouldn't
man.
be. And well, an avalanche started, and I got buried in a big bunch of snow for about an hour and a half or so, maybe an hour.
Did you have
And
one of those beacon so people can know where you are?
no, this is back in 1984.
Oh
84?
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so they didn't even have that stuff. I just took my ski pole, took the handle off of it, and it's hollow, obviously. And so I took the little basket tip thing off of there and stuck it out there like a snorkel and was able to breathe and things. And
Hmm.
oh, just nearly froze. I'll tell you.
Oh man, I can imagine.
I'll tell you, it was no fun. And so they got me out of there quick as they could. And boy, I tell you, a cup of hot chocolate never tasted so good. Although now
I can
after all
imagine.
these years later, I still can't drink it without remembering how
Yeah.
stinking cold I was. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that is scary, man. I mean, it's like, I mean, snow is just packed around you and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot.
It's so quiet. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I could hear my own heart beating. It was quiet.
Man, that is wild. That's almost like being buried alive. I mean, that is like being buried alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Gee. Yeah, no, I guess that one I might be some because I can imagine. I mean, if you watch IG Magini, I mean, they do funny things like this one time that this genie Jin that was won a genie bag, he blinked and put Tony in the sand up to his neck, right?
Up to his neck.
Yeah, yeah. So you can imagine, like, and I think that was a torture they did back in the day, is bury you in the sand up to your head and leave you out there to bake.
Yeah, wait. Well, that and then the tide would come in, you see. And so you'd get to see the tide rolling in slowly and slowly and slowly. And pretty soon, yeah, that tide would come rolling on over you.
Wow.
So it's quite an interesting piece
Oh,
of
wow.
history there.
Wow. So I don't know, man. So yeah, we've been through some stuff. But let us know, like, put in the comment line, like, some of the things that you went through, and who knows, we'll share it another time. But let us know, because it'd be kind of interesting that even have you guys on the show if you've been through some pretty crazy natural, what do you call it, like a natural. Oh, and then the left wing goes to this is because of the climate change. Yeah. Okay. Go
So
back
give
to
us your
MSN.
climate change harrowing experiences
Yeah.
or any other harrowing experiences you might have had dealing with natural or unnatural disasters, folks.
All right.
You can hit us up at info@innervisionfm.com or leave it in the comment line.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, we're gonna call it a night, and we'll be back tomorrow night with some other topics, and we'll see what's happening in the news or whatever else.
All right, folks. Sounds like a good one. See you tomorrow. Thanks, Johnny.
Okay, God bless.